All right, one, two, three. We're here with Brian Goldstein, the podcast hosted by myself, Michael. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today and coming on the show. It's a pleasure to connect. Brian, to be completely upfront with you, as I just even touched on, I like to keep everything super organic and kind of raw and whatnot. I don't know too much about yourself. I looked into your channel. I love the channel. I love what you're doing. I've seen you from, afar. Let's say some time ago too. You've popped up on my social, etc. And I genuinely would love to get to know you. Would love to learn more about your story. It's quite interesting. It looks awesome. And I'd love to know, who is Brian Goldstein? What is the Brian Goldstein story? What's the background, etc.?
All right, buddy. Well, thank you for having me on, Mike. Appreciate it. Um, so yeah, I don't tell my story on social media just because I use it for fun. Like it's turned into a business, but it's not a real business in my book. I have invested in several things over the years, but we'll turn back the clock to high school. I was in special ed from middle school all the way through high school. And when I graduated, I took over the family business, which was HIV pharmacies. We had 3 employees. I then kind of grew it very substantially from 300 plus employees doing business in a lot of states. Went from 1 state to 33 states. During that time, I invested into real estate, cars, other fun stuff, other JVs, and from there it just kind of springboarded. Once you started doing one thing, it was, hey, do you want to go into this? Do you want to go into that? And buying all those cool toys, I ended up being popular on social media because everybody wants to see the cars, the guns, the
Yeah.
travel, and all that good stuff. So I just continued that going, but I
Okay.
never really turned it into a real business. I use it more for networking more than anything for situations like this. Otherwise, you and I would have never met and really connected and started doing things.
Okay, very cool. So let me ask you. I want to know more. I want to hear you too. I don't want to pause you. Pardon me. But so you mentioned you were in special ed throughout middle school and high school.
Correct.
Correct. And where are you? Where are you from, Brian?
Los Angeles.
You're based in LA. Okay. And so you're in this situation, and then you took over your, it's not really a situation. It's awesome that you were able to, overcome whatever, you were going through at this moment, whatever it may be. My brother is dyslexic. He was in special ed too. I can relate, very well. I'm aware of it. And then, so you took over your family's company. Can you just elaborate on that business a bit? I know you just touched on what it is, on the name rather. What is the family business that you took over and scaled to that extent? That's unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
It
Amazing.
was RX Unlimited. I no longer own it. I exited recently. So I'm
Okay.
trying to figure out what I want to do next.
Yeah,
Back
not to highlight too much on that, just briefly in a sentence, what was that company that you took from 3 employees to 300 employees? And like, how'd you go about that? Just
uh
curious.
so the company was RX Unlimited,
Yeah.
and uh networking. That's the best way I can explain it, is working with people that know a lot that you don't know as much about and expanding into fields you don't know about, and just working with people to build that team and build that foundation. It's just like social media networking. Like, think of how many people you touch now because of your podcast, because of everything,
Yeah.
and how big your network has grown. So you've built this network. Now, how do you take that network and really capitalize on it is the bigger question.
100%, 100%. Yeah, so I feel like you tapped into what you're really skilled at, and then you brought on a people or a team that wasn't as skilled in skills that you weren't as skilled in. You focused on finding that particular talent. I feel right, and
Correct.
scaled up. Okay, very well understood. That sounds awesome. And so, if you don't mind continuing, so you growing up, you took over that company, you then exited that company, and then what are you doing from there? What's the day to day for Brian today?
Now that I have a 1-year-old, it's the baby's priority. That's why I was delayed this morning.
Yeah,
As you know, you just
I
had a
feel
baby.
you. Just had a baby 3 weeks ago, baby girl, and it's quite a new world to say the least. But it's amazing, right? It's amazing.
And you learn when to work, when you can't work. Like I pushed till 2 in the morning last night. I was like, all right, I'll sleep a couple hours, I'll be good. And then she decided to be up most of the night, crying, screaming. My girl had training this morning, left me with the baby, and I was like, oh boy, how are we going to get her to go to sleep and just
Yeah.
stay?
I feel you, bro. You're echoing my day to day right now, as you obviously can imagine. I'm doing email, everything's sporadic right now, and I'm the type that keeps it kind of blocked. I'm not too crazy, but I'm pretty organized with my time. My morning routines, and it's just yeah, I'm her routine right now. Whenever she's crying, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I feel you're at your computer. This is pretty much my situation too. I'm able to really work whenever I feel it's you're doing too. You're very digitally based, of course, today. I feel right. So yeah, I take advantage of when I can get that hour in, whenever. Right now, I mean, I'm 3 weeks in, so it's a rough first. That's like the roughest. I think. I hope, but
The first 2 months, I'd say, are the rough part. After that, it changes. So it's not as difficult, but it's still time consuming.
yes, yes, but the shift starts. That's what I've been hearing. 2 to 3 months, the sleeping starts to come to place a bit. Not full nights, maybe, but whatever it may be. That was a good way you put it, and I could tell you thought about that. Changes, right? It's not like it's going to be rainbows and free schedule, everything all day long, like it was Brian's day a year and a month
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Where you could do whatever you want. That's what's crazy. I wake up these days, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that 4 weeks ago I could get up and just do whatever. It's
Yeah.
like now I get up and it's like this is the first thought all day long. It's really that hit me pretty heavy, but as I said, it's amazing. So it's all love.
I
But
got
what you gonna say?
it.
Oh, she's right there.
No, that's my Doberman.
Oh, cutie. There you
Yeah,
go. Is
he
your other
lost
baby?
he lost a leg right before she was born, so
Oh,
he's a little bit extra work some days.
I feel that. Cutie though.
Thank you.
So let me ask you. So what is it you're getting involved in now? I understand you have a baby, but what else is what? Because what from afar, like you said, your Insta is like for fun, very cool. But it's like
Yep.
it looks too cool, bro. Like what's going on? The guns, the car, everything is so dope. What do you do on a day to day? Just create content, invest, and deal with your immediate team, etc. Like what goes on aside from your daughter, of course.
So I'm still dealing with the exit, helping out on that stuff. I got to bug up my butt to build my own podcast studio. So the last couple weeks, I've been ordering all the equipment, getting the room set up, getting the air conditioning set up, and
Okay.
having a dedicated studio that me and my friends are just going to dick around and see what we end up with. And then traveling for the social media stuff. A lot of these gun companies I now partner with.
Yeah.
A lot of these gun companies I've partnered with, and so they end up flying me around the country. Hold on one second.
Yeah. Do you think?
Sorry about that.
No.
Uh, so yeah, and then I've invested in a couple things, so just staying on top of that. And lately, for some reason, I've had a lot of people requesting me to help them with coaching through their business to scale it and really get over those ruts. And just since I've experienced so many different forms of business, it's just helping them dive deep. So I've been helping out a couple friends on growing their business and really just, giving back. I have all this knowledge. Like, how do I help people grow their business?
I love it. Yeah, it's funny you said that because I'm on this is like our 22nd or so episode. And everyone we're interviewing, not everybody, but a large trending thought is this coaching, teaching, rather. You know, teaching is a big thing right now. It's been big forever, something that's, part of like humans, right? We got to teach, learn, etc. But teaching courses and from influensive, individuals like yourself that have a following and, have had success business wise, like you just said, you have something to share, right? And it's a big thing. Like people are more than willing than ever before. I feel like it's a viral thing right now to pay $50, $100, whatever it may be a month to learn and, extract from you and just get that insight, etc. So I hear that. I hear that. Let me ask you, I want to understand, as far as your business, if you don't mind even touching on it briefly, aside from the business that you're exiting, you're still active. I'm assuming like active CEO for X amount of time or whatever active position it is. Not that hot.
I call it consultant.
Just a consultant. You don't need to be that involved. That's awesome. Okay, what other businesses, as you just touched on your business knowledge, what other businesses have you started or have you had experience within?
So I started e-commerce back in 2014, I think, with a couple buddies, and we started a clothing brand that we took from something small to opening day. We did $300,000 in sales and continued that momentum for a while. Just with doing business with friends, it kind of fell apart. So I had to separate from it and just throw it on idle. But I understood the e-commerce space. I did some Amazon for a while. That was fun, but it was just
Well, like the drop shipping.
no, just buying and selling on Amazon.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm not too
Uh,
savvy with the Amazon.
yeah, I built that business up to like 1.5 million a year, and then another partner issue ended up just bailing out.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of the things I've learned over the years is a contract is as good as the person behind it. And there's just certain things that you just need to know when to walk away. It's not worth suing, it's not worth fighting. Just walk away and take it as a lesson. And, just because they're your friend or you became friends over that time period doesn't mean they're a true friend.
Yeah, or have the right intentions, etc. Right?
Yep.
What you're saying. I feel you. Interesting. Let me ask you, Brian, what's like your skill with social, with scaling and bringing attention, like doing 300K in a day? I'm sure there's a lot of variables that go into doing something like that. But just briefly, what would you say to anyone listening? And I'm genuinely curious. What's that skill? Because your engagement is excellent. You seem very, savvy and intelligent on how to utilize, social and grow a presence. What would you say comes top of mind right now when I ask you that question?
So it's multiple things. It's not just me, it's a team. There's the video guy, there's the editor, there's the VA helping with the comments, responding to everybody, organizing my DMs, like being super responsive isn't so easy. And interacting with that many people takes a lot of work. So you have to be able to invest the time to teach your team correctly and then be able to run a clock that works for your schedule. For me, I film every Wednesday, uh, maybe 6 hours ish, depending on, how much time I want to spend with my kid that day, so on and so forth, just because I feel bad when I'm gone for a while and I travel so much.
Yeah.
Um, and then I usually post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or somehow it works out to 3 days a week. One spot where I usually lack though is stories. So my stories just get murdered just because I'm not in the algorithm because I'm just not constant enough. You should be posting five.
Yeah, to it, right?
Yeah. And so you should be posting 5, 6 times a day to really keep it moving.
Yeah,
Uh,
on the stories. On
on
the
the
stories.
stories,
Yes.
art posts.
Yeah, never on posts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%. You want to feed that algorithm, sync
Yep.
with it. Yeah.
And then same thing with your podcast. I'm sure you're pushing out content once a week,
Yeah.
putting it on your YouTube, and then pushing some of it back to your Instagram, Snap,
Yeah.
or even TikTok, and just driving that traffic as well really helps grow everything and just get your exposure out there. And look, some people may not like today's episode, or they may take one nugget out of it, and that's all they needed to really jump to that next goal of, hey, I want to listen to Mike every week.
Yeah.
And it's just those little things you put out that keep people entertained. And I'd say that's the hardest thing about being a quote unquote influencer is always trying to come up with new fun content,
Yeah.
different As
Keeping it organic and like authentic, right? Because some people, like, I feel like they're ill, they're authentic, they do their thing, and no hate to anyone that's creating. I give a lot of love to anyone that's even creating, right? And putting out that effort, trying. But I feel after some point, like they're just doing anything, kind of like what you're kind of touching on. It's like how they're like trying to keep a play running or some sort. And I like to just keep it very organic and raw. I feel that gets like, perceived, and that's like has like longevity to it.
Yep. And that's the hardest part with it, because sometimes I'll just sit there and it'll be film day and I'll look at the camera guy and go, I got nothing.
I ain't feeling it right now.
I ain't feeling it. I'll see you Friday.
Sheesh. Okay,
And
okay.
drive out and just, I'm sure sometimes like you run out of certain questions to ask people and you're like, fuck, what do I ask the guy so it doesn't sound repetitive or what we
Yeah.
didn't cover?
And
And
that's why I like to not know so much. So it's very like I'm genuinely like asking you these questions. It's not like I'm writing them down, and I'm gonna, look and watch 50 other videos. I like that because you get insight and you study who you're gonna be talking to, which is, definitely, good for the audience. But yeah, back to that authenticity, like I said too. So that's interesting, like you said. So you film 6 hours, you'll film many hours on just that Wednesday, and you'll be set for the week. And that's what you're basically doing.
I can usually do 2 weeks worth in a day. Um, that's just Instagram and TikTok. That's not including YouTube. YouTube is a half a day by itself, unless you're running a podcast, which then you can do in an hour. And then your guy still has to go and chop it and remove the ums and the and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, YouTube is a whole nother animal, which I'm not that consistent on just because of the time.
Yeah, what it takes. I feel that. I feel that. So I want to ask you, Brian, what's like your like morning routine? Us now with the baby, but even maybe prior to that, if that shifted anything, but like the main core morning routine. We always find something valuable from this thought. What keeps you so driven and focused every day? You build these businesses, you scale them, you have all this going on, that weekly routine with creating content, and I'm sure there's a million other little things that you do and you have locked in on your day to day. What keeps you so focused? Is there something in that morning that's going on, or
Well, so taking it back to special ed years ago, one of my teachers told me, I'm teaching you to work for somebody else. And that stuck in my head of, fuck you, I'm never going to work for somebody else and I'm going to be my own boss. And that's always been my drive. And I had some family drama over the years. And one of my parents is like, hey, you're a fuck up. You're never going to amount to anything. So I've taken all that negative energy and really just use that as my fuel, even when I'm down and I don't want to do anything. And look, guys, I still end up in that rut of, hey, some days I just don't want to do shit. I don't feel motivated. And you have to dig deep and find out of that. It never stops. I don't care how much money you have. The grind just never stops pushing and you need to
yeah,
stay on top of things. So it's just that thing I learned 15, 20 years ago of, yeah, I'm not going to be somebody's bitch and I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And so I'd say the morning routine is actually quite simple. I stay in bed till my daughter's ready to wake up. When she's up, then we get up, we go feed the dog, we let her play for a minute, then change her diaper. Um, I walk into my office for a bit, hand her off to my mom, her mom, and I get working on emails that, I didn't finish at 2 a.m. last night, or people that have already responded from the East Coast that I now need to catch back up on, and just little to-do lists. Like I got notepads over here of, hey, everything I need to accomplish today, content I need to accomplish, things I forgot about, certain affairs with the business that I need to close out. And then it's just a lot of the little nuance things, reviewing bills. Like most people are like, what do you mean? Like you have all these subscriptions that you check on. Well, once every other month, I go through everything, making sure I'm still using that subscription, because why am I going to pay for it if I'm not using it?
and you said people say to you, what do you mean, when you're checking what you're paying for?
Yeah, they're like, oh, you just pay it. I'm like, no.
No, no. I haven't looked at this in 3 months, and it's billing me $15 a month, whatever it may be, right?
You start looking through it and you have like $1,000 a month in like monthly subscriptions, you're like, what the fuck is all this shit?
Yeah, 100%. No,
Like
I do that every month.
I
Yeah,
forgot about my Equinox membership for a while, and I was like, oh, there went $1,000 real quick.
real quick. Oh yeah, if you don't look, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So yeah, man, it's super cool to connect. Like I said, I love everything you're doing, with the guns and just everything. It's so cool. I don't personally own any guns. I'm not like big into them, but just looking at how you just everything with it personally, it's like making me want one just for safety reasons, registered and all that. And it just looks cool. I love it. You have a very unique energy that you put out there. I'm sure you get this. It's not so common. It's a unique vibe all around, you know?
I've learned over the years, and that's probably one of my biggest tips to business is being able to read people, but help them first. Be willing to do something for them with no strings attached. And, whether it be have a 30-minute conversation with them or help them source something. I find that goes a lot farther than, just saying, hey, let's do this together. If you help someone, they're more inclined to help.
100%. 100%. Yeah, growing up, my father is a jeweler, and my other side of my family, my mother's side, we own a media agency. And growing up with the jewelry side, I was very involved with that physical retail business. I would bring jewelry to like celebrities, rappers, anyone for photo shoots, etc. And it was always like, hey, here I have all these watches and stuff, and I'd love to get a picture and build a relationship. If you ever need any jewelry, it was a very like exchange for exchange, not as organic of a situation. It was awesome, just to touch on it briefly, got exposure, built great relationships, but just this other route of just a podcast. Like we connected through DM, now we're here talking. Me being able to connect with the same celebrity or the same person I'm interested in connecting with or doing something with, it doesn't need to involve me doing business with them or bringing something to them that they'll then find valuable. Just keeping it organic and cool and just providing value, I feel like is going to go so much further than all these moments that I had when I was a young boy growing up. I still have such great relationships, but to touch on what you're saying, just giving value, it goes so much more further, right? Than having to have to say, hey, here's this thing, hold that, McLaren for your photo shoot today, and I'll come pick it up in 2 hours. It's all love. It's more of a like an exchange based like thing in a sense, not to go so deep in it, right? Logical. This is more of a value exchange. It's much more meaningful, and has more longevity. Again, not to be repetitive with these few words, right? But
Oh yeah. Even my wife's like, how do you sit down with a person and get them to share some very intimate details within 10, 15 minutes? And it's not something you can just learn overnight. You have to work on that skill and really care about what people are saying and truly listen and not prepare your next statement as someone is talking. I'd say that's probably my biggest thing when you're having a conversation with anyone. Listen first. Don't be so fast to answer because, dude, you don't know everything. Like,
yes.
listen to what they're saying and don't anticipate because this isn't Jeopardy.
I feel you. No, I love it, man. I appreciate you saying that because I just recently started this, let's say maybe some months ago, and I appreciate you giving me that insight. I know you've been doing this for quite some time, to listen. And that's like what I touched on too. I don't like really prepping too much and I want to learn. I just want to learn all day long. This is one of my most exciting parts of my day aside from being with my baby and growing my business, even closing a Zoom and a deal with whatever I'm doing financially, meeting people like you, it's just so exciting and interesting, and I learned so much. Like I said, I think this is like a 20-second episode. Just in, these 22 conversations, they've been so fruitful to me. Like you just touched on this sentence that you recall from being a kid, don't work, you're going to work for someone else. And it's just that one thing. It stuck with me already. I think I'm gonna close this call and I'm gonna remember, when I met Brian, he's dope, but also like that moment, it's crazy how that just like sedimented right there for him. And he's like 20 years older now, and he took that with him. and it's just a motivating thing that he took with him. It's just interesting. One thought, right? A few other things you've touched on too, I'm grateful for, right? But just all of these different things, there's so much value in all of it, and I don't want to run on that too much. I want to ask you another thought right now, Brian, and you kind of touched on it perhaps in a sense of so. But what would you say through your career, looking back until today as well? What was another moment? You touched on that one we just said as you were a child with you won't, you may work with somebody, but something else maybe that you recall top of mind that was very meaningful, maybe in a successful, way or a lesson way, but something that was meaningful that if someone's listening to this, they can find value from it. Is there anything that comes top of mind, not to put you on the spot, other than what you've mentioned?
Do your homework
Yeah.
on who you're going to partner with, I would say, is one of the biggest lessons, because I got burned for millions over the years. That's just part of getting to that level. And I'm going to drill it home. Do your homework on who you're doing business with and figure out how they got to where they are and what can they do to truly benefit you, and make sure everything they're doing is above boards.
Wow. What was the last thing? Make sure everything they do is above.
Boards, kosher.
Okay, yes, yes, yes. So like really studying these people's past, et cetera, all these different things. Can I ask you, well, I guess the answer is, you get partners because they bring other value, of course, right? Very logical. But, would you, at this point from your experience, I'm just curious, would you still engage in partnerships, or you would, but maybe more intelligently, and you'd study their background, reverse engineer this person like crazy, right? All
I
of what you just said, I guess, or you kind of stay away from these partnerships right now?
No, I still do partnerships, but I now, after a situation I had years ago, I now hire someone to do a background check on them and give me a report of, hey, this is what this person's really about. Obviously, it doesn't tell you everything, but if you see some red flags in there, like, you should do your goddamn homework.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And it's like if you engage in that and there's an issue, it's like, hey, I saw these red flags and I still did that. So it's like, right?
And I'll even take it one step further. When you're hiring an employee, any employee, I don't care if it's the fucking janitor or, a high level person, doing a simple background check on, hey, have they sued their previous employers for, stupid stuff that you're now going to get hit with. And I know in New York, same as California, the employee usually wins. Doesn't matter who's right or wrong.
Yeah,
And
you tell at your office, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
and so just really truly doing that homework on that front as well will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawsuits. I've been through, I don't know, 7, 10 employee lawsuits, and they're all nonsense, but you end up paying a number to make it go away because you're going to spend more on legal fees.
That's crazy. And you found in those cases the employee is usually favored.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
Except
how it goes.
I was in one situation where I terminated somebody. On the way out the door, she said she was pregnant. I said, "Oh, you're still fired. Bye." Um, I get a lawsuit 6 months later that, due to me terminating her, she was forced to terminate the baby because she didn't have money to support a child.
Are you serious? Holy shit.
I get 50 grand through the legal process. We're into mediation, and we had discovery. And come to find out, she had 2 abortions before and an abortion after. The meeting judge is like, "Hey, Brian, you're going to win this case." He looks at my attorney and says, "What's it going to cost Brian to run it all the way to the end?" He's like, "Another 150,000. And the person doesn't have money. So let's say I win.
You have
Am
to
I
cover her fee, her expenses.
No, no, no. That's just 150 for me.
Okay.
Uh,
I thought you
let-
okay.
let's just say I win. If I win, I can collect on that person. But if a person isn't worth shit, why are you going to spend $150,000 to get zero?
100%.
Instead, I paid her 50 grand and said, "Fuck off. Let's be done with this."
Wow.
It's just those lesser of two evils.
Crazy. That's
Even when you can
crazy.
win, you're going to lose. And
So just take the L, minimize it as much as you can, take it as a lesson too, not
take it
just.
as a lesson and take it as a win. Hey, I didn't spend $200,000 on legal fees. I'm out.
That's absolutely crazy. Let me ask you, because I'm curious. I'm hiring right now.
Yep.
What are you having your employees like? They'll sign something. Are you doing anything with this? Maybe it's not
Oh,
something you
yeah.
want to touch on. Oh yeah,
Uh,
right. I have something in regards to this, but with financial wise, like whatever, something with building
oh,
accounts, but nothing with that really.
so
But
I have them sign an NDA,
yeah.
a non-compete if it's legal in your state. Um, I have them go through sexual harassment training. I go through sexual harassment training once a year because that's a requirement in California. Um, when I was in the healthcare space, I made them do HIPAA training, which was fraud, waste, and abuse, keeping patients' information safe, all that good stuff. Um, what else? There was always before hiring, we did a background check
Yeah.
and they were aware of it. They had to sign the form giving us authorization. Hey, we're doing a background check. If we see anything funny, you're out. And also, pre-employment hiring, I would do a drug test,
Oh, okay.
just so I could see who I'm working with, what's in their system. Obviously, being around drugs, I kind of got to make sure the person's clean. Um,
100%.
And I've had theft in the pharmacies. Like I had an employee when the pharmacy was in San Francisco steal 30,000 units of controlled substances. Nobody knew. The police ended up catching him randomly on a bus and figured it out from there.
They tracked it back down to where it came
They
from.
tracked it back to us and they're like, hey, this is what's going on. And then we said, oh shit.
We need
And
to
so,
study this and catch this before this could happen, right? And then yeah,
correct.
yeah.
And so, what else? Oh, a very good employee handbook written by a labor attorney that knows your state laws to make sure that things are set in place in black and white. There's no questions, and that the person thoroughly reads it and signs it and acknowledges it. Um, it's been a little while since I've done employee hire
Oh,
ons.
I'm with you. Yeah. And I have a lot of, insight with my family, with what they do. We have 64 employees at the media company, about 10 or so or 15 or so at the jewelry business. I'm building my own executive team, personal team. And then going into the media business, I'll be taking over the family media business. I'm the only grandson that's in this, field. But yeah, no, and we have a bunch of things, but I'm just always asking this stuff because, like you just touched on, it's a ticking bomb. I don't even like using that analogy. A fire. We're firefighters, right? I'm sure you've obviously heard this analogy a million times. I get up and it's 18 messages. How do I got to call him and solve that later. Let me call him now and call her. So these types of protocols, they keep us in the lane we want to be in, stay focused, be with your kid instead of wasting time with somebody's random, bullshit that's going to happen. So, it's very interesting to hear like all the layers that you just come off with top of mind. And that's just off the top of mind. I'm sure there's a few other
Oh,
things. It's
like if
great.
I actually sat down for a bit and like wrote it
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
it's scary and like things
That
start to
is
blur.
scary. It's like, yo, do I want to hire more people right now? I feel like it's like you do, but strategically you do, not just out of nowhere.
At the level of business I was doing, I had an in-house attorney. So it wasn't go call attorney John. It was knock on his office door. Yo,
Yeah.
here's the question.
Yeah.
And we hired some high level guy and I let him do the vetting process. And I figured attorney, he would do his homework. Long story short, I ended up in a lawsuit with the guy in front of the labor board with the guy, him creating a bunch of accusations to state agencies about me and having to clear my name, fight the lawsuits, go through all of that to come to find out this guy's done it to his last three employers. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had these checks and balances in place. How the fuck did this just happen? And it was an oops situation. And so just make sure there's a fail safe that, someone else has double checked everything and that you have an HR person in this scenario that is double checking all your hire ons. And people laugh, well, what do I need an HR for? Well, there's all these nuances that I don't want to stay on top of. that I
Yep.
need other people to stay on top of.
Hmm.
And, making sure the write-ups are done formally. I'm the type of person, if I hire you, I train you, and I'm not talking to you again unless it's hi, bye, or you screwed up. I trust people to do their job. That's why I'm paying you. I'm
Yeah.
paying for a skill set. I'm
You're
not,
not gonna micro. You're not their mom or dad today, or a
oh,
babysitter. Yeah.
and that's what a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean you're not that hands-on? I'm like, dude, I'm not a micromanager. Like, here's the task. I've explained it. I've showed you how to do it. This is what I expect. And, I've read a ton of books on managing that stuff that I didn't learn in school, and just how to read people's mannerisms, how to listen to all these different people and see if they're really telling you or if they really understand, which goes back to my previous comment,
Mhm.
listening. So when you say something to someone that you're expected to do a task, make sure they can repeat the task back to you in detail. Don't just assume they heard everything.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have some of this going on where it's like I just showed you this is exactly what you should be doing, and then there's always a somewhat of an issue with doing the task, and very simplified, But I got to get stronger with, I have a big heart, as crazy as dumb as that may sound to you.
Oh,
It's like I want to give you a shot. You seem like a great kid. Go for it. Yeah, I feel like you've been there, done that. I'm catching your vibe.
I've done that, and I have one of these a good friend that I mentor, and I'm like, bro, like we're
Yeah.
so he had me come out and talk at his event a couple weeks ago, and I was like, bro, if it was anybody else, I wouldn't be showing up. And it wasn't a big turnout because his organization was off, and it was like maybe a crowd of 30. But whatever, he's a good friend, and I said I'll be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, how come you didn't organize this properly? He's like, well, this person, I trusted this person. And then we got to talking, and he's like, hey, one of my people that I brought to DJ the event um, ended up getting belligerently drunk and getting beating up people and getting beat up. And I stopped and paused for a half a second and said, hey, Dave, you do realize you're going to get sued. He's like, what the fuck do you mean? I said, Dave, you're going to get sued. Like, this guy was here on your time at your house. You provided. I don't care who brought the alcohol. It was a house you provided under work conditions. Spin it however you want. Give me
Yeah.
a justification. You're getting a lawsuit. So I call my attorney Monday, Tuesday, and I give him the rundown. And I was like, hey guys, when the lawsuit comes, I'll let you know. Week goes by, get a phone call from Dave. How the fuck did you know?
Sheesh.
Bro, fucking employees, they will take advantage. He got this shit kicked out of him. He got embarrassed, and he's suing my friend for $250,000. And he's just tacking on all this other bullshit. And I was like, look, I'm not going to sit here and fucking ridicule you. Please tell me what you learned. How did you learn from this experience? And it's going to cost you 100 grand. I don't care how you cut the pie between
Yeah.
attorney fees, settling. What did we learn by spending $100,000? And he's like, look, I would structure things better. I would have each person have their own hotel room. I would have set schedules that they agree to. And there would be no, call it family team dinner. Or if there was a family team dinner, it would be in a restaurant, no alcohol provided. If you want alcohol, that's on your own dime,
Yeah.
on your own. And from there, it's you have to figure it out, and really creating boundaries. As much as you want to be buddy buddy with this guy that's your friend ish that you brought on as an employee, hate to say it, guys, when they're your employee and not your even business partner, you have to walk a certain line.
Yeah.
But employee more so of, you have to set boundaries, and you cannot let people know your personal life. Like, my staff never knew about my social media. I never drove a nice car to work. You've seen my social media. I had nice cars. I've simplified my collection over the years. Now that I have a kid, there's no time to enjoy a lot of it. But
How would you stay so low? Like, how does your staff not know about your social? It's just not something that's relevant or relevant to them, right? You're just not going to bring it up.
I
You're here to
wouldn't
talk
talk about
about business. I get it. It's just
And
not something being discussed.
like I'd get care packages delivered to the office, but it would just say Brian Goldstein personal. And they'd set it in a different stack. And I didn't open the packages in front of the staff. If I opened it in my office, I put it back in the box. I took it to my car. And so there was nothing in my office that said, hey, Brian's a social media guy or Brian drives nice cars to work. I wouldn't drive my Porsche to work or my Rolls Royce. Like all these people are busting their ass for you and you're going to take a Rolls Royce to work and fucking rub it in their face.
Yeah. I don't
No.
like that.
Forever I drove a Tahoe, which is still a nice car. And then a year and a half ago, I upgraded to the new Escalade, which is still a nice car, but it's not fuck
Not
you.
like the Cullinan or the Urus. It's not like Blau, you know?
It's not a Range Rover. And
Yeah.
I got the
Yeah.
base model. I didn't go platinum, so no one could look up my car and say, oh, he has the platinum $120,000 one. No, I got the base model at $82,000.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still a lot of money to an average employee, but it's not fuck you. And some of my other employees drove Mercedes, Range Rovers, nice Lexuses. So I didn't take it above and beyond. I didn't wear nice
Kept it
watches.
right with them, right?
Again, dude, I'm wearing an Amazon t-shirt,
Same
some
thing,
basic.
man. I'm not even wearing a watch. And I grew up in this luxury. Yeah, like my dad with this business. That's why I really started the magazine, always seeing this type of affluent, people around me and absorbing it. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's so crazy that you said what you said. And I don't know if you're big into rap, but the rapper PNB Rock, he just passed away.
He
Yeah,
got shot
rest in
robbed
peace.
yesterday.
Right by, like you're in LA, you said, right?
I'm
Yeah,
not done.
absolutely crazy and completely rest in peace. So much respect for that young man. His
Oh, and
talent is incredible. But I've been reading a lot of the comments, and comments are comments, hearsay, right? Tons of hearsay. But a lot of people are like, he was just wearing these chains with the car and all these things in this particular Southern California area. I don't know. This happens. People will rob you. They're killing LA like legends, like left and right. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know too much, so I don't want to speak about it so much. But I said to my boys, I just took my boys on a walk. I got two guys that are in-house with me, and then I have independent contractors at a home. And I just went on a walk with them, and I said, guys, I don't even want my McLaren anymore. And I'm just speaking out of my head, maybe like childish in a sense, but not. Maybe I'm not maturing. Could be the opposite. And I'm like, I want to get money, and I don't even want anyone to know I'm getting money. Like I want to like be chilling and not I just don't want it to be. I want to be low. I don't want to be loud with it. And I've been growing that way. Growing up, I was best dressed in high school. Big into everything. Now I wear this T-shirt. I have 3,000 of these shirts. So when I open my drawer, I don't have to waste a second on mental capital. I just grab the shirt. I got one in blue, some colors, but really black. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, Mike, you don't wear any of your watches anymore. You don't even care about the sneakers you had. I used to collect these sneakers, go crazy with
I
them.
did the same thing. I sold my sneakers. I sold my watches.
I'm
Um,
thinking of selling my car. I barely use
I
it as
sold,
much as I want. I don't even want to like pull. I have the doors go up. And when I do it now, I'm like parking aside because I don't want the door to go up and 15 people come up to me. It's like, I'm checking my own self. Like, yo, I think it's time to just get like a low key Benz or something clean and classy, but it doesn't need to be over the top. And
no, and that's what a lot of people forget. Like, who the fuck are you trying to impress? I know what I've accomplished. I
yeah.
don't need to impress people. That's what, how do you say it nicely? Like,
No, say it as raw as you want. I'm feeling it. I'm with it. And I think having the baby just a month ago shifted my mindset like crazy personally.
yeah, I
Like a
guess what
lot.
ego do you have, or what are you missing, or what did you not have as a child that makes you want to just swing your dick and show off?
Yeah.
And look, you made money, you were able to buy a nice car, and you enjoyed it. And now you've learned, now that you have your own money, that it wasn't gifted to you from your family, and you've built something. You're
Yeah.
like, why am I paying this car payment? Or why am I paying this insurance and registration when, for
Literally.
what? Who am I
Literally.
trying to impress? Like, hey, if you enjoy going to the racetrack and doing that stuff, get a race car. I enjoy going to the motorcycle track. I have a race motorcycle. You see me riding it on the street? No. Goes in the back of a pickup truck and off to the racetrack we go.
It's a hobby, right? You're engaging.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I dress like a fucking bum. I only own one pair of jeans because I hate wearing pants, and I'm always wearing basketball shorts. And I'm not out to impress anybody. You either like me for what I'm providing, or sorry, fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
not here to sugarcoat it. Like half the time I don't do my hair. Um, like I when I have to go to a professional setting, my tattoos cut off here so I can wear a longer shirt. Um, but most of the time you're gonna love me or hate me. There's no in between. I used to show up to meetings with a mohawk and not give a shit. Full shave sides, just hair down the center. And people
You don't give a shit.
are like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, dude, I don't care. You're here for what I have to say.
Not for my mohawk. Yeah, yeah,
Not for my mohawk, not for my looks, not for what clothing I'm wearing. Like,
yeah.
dude, I'm a sneakerhead, but I never wore them because I didn't want to fuck them up. So now my go-to
I have
sneaker.
like 300 pairs of shoes. I feel like an idiot. All Nike SBs, like their names, they're all like the illest ones. You know what I mean?
I
And I'm
just
like,
150 of them.
sheesh.
I
Yeah,
was like, all right, the market's hot, let them go. Like, I've never worn them. Who cares? And it's just now I wear Ultra Boosts because they're comfortable because I have a bad back and I care about being comfortable. And like, I'll go into certain meetings and my attorneys are like, why are you dressed? What are you doing? Hi, cutie pie. And, why are you dressed that way? And I'm like, dude, I need to be comfortable in order to be my internal self. And it just, hey, knock it off. And
I feel you. The comfort. It's everything. Like you see Mark Zuckerberg, you see all these guys. They get up and wear the same thing. They do them. The value is what they're gonna put out there. It's not about what they're wearing and all these things.
and I
But
get the reference of Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett. Do any of them wear Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, any of that shit? No, they might wear a very nice suit that costs a lot of money.
and they're going to make sure you have no idea what it is. If it's 30 G's, 5 G's, you're not going to know it is. You're going to think it's $5.
And that's the nice thing about a suit. There's no logos on there. There's none of that stuff. And that's what makes it interesting. Like,
Very interesting. It fucks my head up a lot thinking about Warren. I watched his documentary, just in general, his whole lifestyle, all of what we just mentioned. Like he gets up and goes get McDonald's every morning, lives in the same house, just it all. It's just so awesome. It's super
yeah,
cool. He's very aware of himself. All of what we just touched on. He's aware of what he's going to provide to the world, who he is, and all that extra shit. It's like he's looking at us or whatever, anyone, not you, he's looking at anyone like, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah,
what's the point? Go build like a school in Africa or something. Like, you're going to drive that car around. But again, it's like, that's where I am. I'm young. I'm 30. I do great with my business. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. So I'm working all the time because I love what I'm doing. And the byproduct of that is it happens to be a good sum of money for someone my age. And I just started buying these, things thinking that, I guess you got to get out of your system. I don't know. Like I bought a Lamborghini Gallardo when I was 21. I did 1.4 million in sales on my e-commerce site, Michael Lewis. I handcraft, this is another brand of mine. I handcraft small leather goods with exotic leathers like crocodile and python. You may have seen it because we were literally everywhere in 2014 or so. I was just going ham up to like 4 a.m. I did 1.4 million on Shopify my first year. I was 21 years old. Bought a car, did this. And then I bought a Lamborghini Huracan after the Gallardo. And then after the Huracan, I got a McLaren. And it's just now I'm sitting back. I'm 30. I just had a baby. I'm growing my staff. Finally, I should have been investing in people a lot longer ago, prior to buying those cars. And, I'm investing in the right things. And these are the thoughts, popping in my head. Like today, it's like, wait, the market's up. McLaren would buy my car more for what it's worth, I feel. Let me even move it, get into like a nice S-Class that's low key and comfortable and stay focused and zoned on what makes me happy, saving money, providing for my daughter, whatever it may be. But anyhow, all aligned with what you said. I appreciate your feedback on it too.
look, and to the listeners that are listening to this, it's don't try to impress people. Like, if you're trying to impress a girl and you don't have the money to burn, why the fuck are you putting yourself in debt, taking her to a $300-400 dinner? Like, dinners in New York, I know aren't cheap, just like dinners in LA. And like, why are you living a
100%.
life to impress people on social media that nobody gives a fuck about? Nobody
Literally.
cares.
Literally.
Like,
And I
I
think, well, I think initially it was more on not solely it's the impression, but it was like I worked so hard for this, and yeah, let me even just flex a second, you know. But I think now, like this McLaren I bought, I don't even take pictures of it, show it like that, you know. It was not really. I enjoy these fine things, like a lot of us do, you know. But it's more so like growing up, just my personal, you know. I know you're referring it to as a macro, you know, just what's more meaningful, right? I guess that's just, you know, everyone has their own preference though. If you love 20 different Lamborghinis, they're all different colors,
That's
amazing.
your thing. Go for it.
Exactly, yeah.
But even my really rich friends that have retarded car collections don't floss it. We go out on Sunday drives, but they're not posting it on social media. We just have fun with each other. And I'm not saying don't buy nice things.
Yeah.
I'm saying don't shove it in people's faces.
Yes, and buy them for the right reasons. If
Buy
you're
them for the
buying
right reason.
them, yeah, and you feel like this is an external, or you got picked on when you were in high school, and now this is your flex back, bro. It's not gonna fill that hole for you. Like,
No,
you know,
my
yeah,
flex back is working harder. And I don't know, I'm sure you've seen the quote online somewhere, move in silence.
yeah, of course, of
Like, you
course.
don't need people knowing your next move. Shut the fuck up. And when you first meet someone, do not share your inside details. Wait until you truly know someone. And I'm talking like 3 to 6 months in, once you've like really hung out with the person on a regular basis, like whether an employees shut the fuck up. Don't even share that. But I'm just talking about people in your circle, and spend time with people who lift you up to a level you want to be at or better.
100%.
Don't hang out with people that are less than you, because their energy wears off on you. If you hang around lazy people, well, hate to break it to you, you're going to be lazy. You hang around hustlers, you're going to be hustling, you're going to be grinding, you're going to be growing. And that's been the biggest takeaway. Even me and my girl have discussed this about certain friends in our life that we've had to cut out because it doesn't lift us up or benefit our lives in
Doesn't
any
add
way.
to your life. Yeah. What inspirational person are they going to introduce you to, right? What quality moment or memorable evening are they going to bring to your life? Not to sound so much like this. I've been saying the exact same thing. I guess it's like, you know, aligned with, you know, the mentality, right? But
We'll ask you this quick question because I know we're coming to an end shortly.
yeah, yeah.
Now that you have a child, your time is now limited. You have to pick and choose what's worth giving up time for your child to invest in friend, business, travel, whatever it might be. Your calculation has now changed in the last 3 weeks and will forever be changing. It's the same thing with hanging around certain people. Are they worth that time investment to take away time from yourself?
Yeah, and my baby, 100%. This thought is so live in me right now, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And people don't, I was like, oh, how much is my life going to change when my kid comes? A lot. Like, you can't even explain it in words. Your shit will be flipped upside down, and whatever you thought was a priority is not.
No, it's a complete reevaluation, right? Of anything, yeah, whatever you're going to do, you're going to think again. And it's amazing. It's a very mature thought. I'm very happy to have it at such a high level now, this thought constantly, you
And
know?
look, you're
Yeah.
still young, Mike. At 30, you've learned a lot and accomplished a lot. And I'm sure you have certain nuggets that you wish at 21 you knew instead of learning it at 28, 29, 30. And same thing for me.
Yeah.
And I wish I had certain coaches in my life at certain points. Um, and just, hanging around more successful people. Most of my friends are 10, 15 years older than me because of the knowledge they carry.
Yeah, same thing. I want to say, like, yeah, like I lost my virginity. I don't want to go there to a girl that was like 8 years older than me. You know, I was always hanging out with kids that were older than me. I felt the same thing. You know, I was always a bit more mature in a sense. But yeah, a lot of things like we touched on. You know, I wish I knew to build a very strong team earlier. But like you just said, that's also very a lot like you know, logical, right? It's going to happen in anyone's day to day when they're going to grow something. But yeah, Brian, I really do appreciate you, man, coming on. Really do. I thank you so much, and it was such a pleasure. And let's stay connected. The Billionaires Club, the Luxury Lifestyle Magazine. We're here with you. If you ever want to do anything collaborative, you got us. And keep doing your thing, man. You're so dope. I'm no gas to you, bro. You're very just chill. And I don't want to say that word 1,000th time, but that's what I look for, that authenticity. And you have it. And this is raw from me, a person in New York. I just met you today. And it's very cool, man. Keep doing you and staying very, just zoned on what's important and putting the right stuff out there and everything under the sun. I could say a million more things, but you get the vibe.
Buddy.
All right? All love. Thank you so much for your time, Brian.
All right, Mike. Have a good one.
Take care. Thank you for watching this episode. We upload a new episode every Friday at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. We as well greatly appreciate those that have subscribed to the channel. We appreciate the love and the support. Lastly, if you've missed last week's episode, tune into the episode right here.